The knock came just after midnight. 3 sharp knocks. Slow. Deliberate. Daniel froze, his hand still wrapped around the chipped mug of cold tea. Nobody ever knocked on his door at that hour, especially not with that kind of authority. When he opened it, a uniform stood in the hallway, crisp, official, and heavy with meaning, and in that moment, Daniel understood that the quiet kindness he had shown a stranger weeks ago had come back, carrying a truth powerful enough to change his entire life. Daniel Brooks was invisible to most people. Every morning before the sun rose, he unlocked the doors of Jefferson Middle School, pushing his squeaky cart down long hallways that smelled of disinfectant and old books. He mopped floors no one noticed, emptied trash no one thanked him for, and fixed broken desks that would break again by the next week. To the students, he was the janitor. To the staff, he was background noise. To his 8-year-old son, Noah, he was everything. Daniel had been both mother and father since Noah was 3. His wife, Emily, had passed after a short illness that left Daniel drowning in grief with a toddler clinging to his leg. He never complained. He just worked more. Nights were spent packing lunches, fixing homework mistakes, and whispering bedtime stories. When Noah asked why mommy never came back, money was always tight. Daniel wore the same worn jacket every winter, his boots patched more times than he could remember. But Noah always had clean clothes, warm meals, and a father who showed up. One rainy evening, Daniel was finishing his second shift cleaning the downtown bus terminal. The place echoed with tired footsteps and coughing engines. That's when he saw her. She sat stiffly on a bench near the exit, a woman in a navy blue jacket, posture straight despite exhaustion pulling at her shoulders. Beside her sat a little girl, no older than 6, hugging a pink backpack and fighting sleep. The child's shoes were soaked through, her socks dark with rain. Daniel noticed because he always noticed small things. Hunger had taught him how. When the terminal lights flickered, the little girl whimpered softly, "It's okay, Lily," the woman whispered, brushing damp hair from her daughter's face. Her voice was calm, but her eyes carried something heavier, fear wrapped in discipline. Daniel hesitated. He had learned that helping people often cost something he couldn't afford. But then Lily looked up at him, her eyes wide and hopeful, and he saw Noah. "You two waiting long?" Daniel asked gently. The woman nodded. "Our ride fell through. We'll manage." Daniel didn't believe her. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the sandwich he'd packed for later. "It's not much, but the kid might be hungry." The woman's pride flickered, then softened. "Thank you. I'm Sarah." Daniel shrugged. Daniel. That small act turned into a conversation. Sarah was in the Navy, recently transferred, dealing with housing delays and paperwork that moved slower than life itself. She never complained, just stated facts, like someone trained to endure. Daniel offered them a ride home. His car barely started, the heater barely worked, but they accepted. That night, Lily fell asleep in the back seat, her head resting against the window, trusting a stranger without knowing why. Before they parted, Sarah looked at Daniel differently, not with pity, but respect. "You didn't have to help us," she said. Daniel smiled faintly. "Someone once helped me when I had nothing. I'm just paying it forward." He didn't know it then, but those words had already planted a seed. Weeks passed. Life returned to routine. Mornings at school. Evenings with Noah. Bills stacked neatly on the counter, never fully paid, just managed. Daniel had almost forgotten about Sarah and Lily. Then the knock came. It was late. Noah was asleep. Daniel opened the door to find 2 Navy officers standing in the hallway, and behind them, Sarah. She looked different. Stronger. Steadier. Her uniform immaculate. "Daniel Brooks?" one officer asked. "Yes," Daniel replied, his heart pounding. "We're here regarding a commendation." Daniel blinked. "I think you've got the wrong person." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes shining. "You helped me when I was stranded. You fed my daughter. You reminded me that kindness still exists outside uniforms and ranks." The officers explained that Sarah had written a formal report, not about heroics in battle, but about a civilian whose compassion embodied the values the Navy stood for. Her commanding officer had taken notice, but that wasn't all. Sarah looked at Daniel, her voice trembling now. "You told me someone once helped you when you had nothing. I found out who that was." Daniel's breath caught. "It was my father," she continued. "Years ago. He was a mechanic who helped a struggling young widower fix his car for free so he could keep working." Daniel's knees nearly gave out. "That widower was you." The room felt too small for the moment unfolding inside it. The Navy had partnered with the school district to fund vocational advancement programs. Daniel was being offered training, a full-time facilities management position, and benefits, real benefits. Stability. A future. Tears streamed down his face as Noah appeared in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. "Dad. What's wrong?" Daniel knelt, pulling his son close. "Nothing, buddy. Everything's right." Sarah knelt too, smiling at Noah. "Your dad is a very good man." Months later, Daniel wore a new uniform, not a Navy one, but one that fit his life better. He earned more, smiled more, slept without fear, and every morning, when he unlocked the school doors, he remembered the knock that proved one simple truth: kindness never disappears. It waits, and when it returns, it comes back stronger. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness carry the greatest weight. You never know who's watching, who remembers, or how far your compassion can travel. Help anyway. Love anyway. Because one day, the knock you least expect may change everything.